Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be looking at the power and battery tab and the failsafe tab. I'm putting both of these tabs together because they're not too long to explain and there isn't too much on them. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so once you've plugged in your quad to your computer, we're going to go all the way down to power and battery, the tab right under configuration. Click on it, and once you click on it, you'll see that there's not too many things on this tab. But it's still pretty important to know how to use it and what it is. So if we start all the way at the top, there's battery, voltage meter source, and current meter source. Keep it on onboard ADC because that usually always works. But if you know that you have an ESC sensor on your quad, then you can also use ESC sensor. But I do not have one, which is why I'm on onboard ADC. Right under that, we've got minimum cell voltage, max cell voltage, warning cell voltage, and capacity in milliamps. The minimum cell voltage and maximum cell voltage and the capacity are all used so that Betaflight can guess how many cells you have in your battery. So with this, if I were to plug in a battery over here at connected, it would say yes, and it would say 4-cell battery. The warning cell voltage goes back to the OSD. So on the OSD, we can put a warning for when there's a low voltage, and in power and battery you choose at what voltage cell voltage it will give you the warning. So right now for most quads, for 3-inch and 5-inch quads, 3.5 is usually the place where you would want to have your warning. You can change that depending on how long you want to fly, but usually it's 3.5. For 4S batteries, you would usually put a minimum cell voltage of 3.3 and a maximum cell voltage of 4.25, and that should give you a 4S battery. The voltage meter is just for when you plug in a battery. Over here, this is very close to 0, like the milliamps and amps, but basically that is just to so that Betaflight knows what the value of your what voltage value you have for your battery. Right under it, amperage meter. It's basically the same thing as the voltage meter, but for the amps. But many quads aren't set up to actually measure the amount of amps. So it's possible that in your OSD, when you've got the amp usage and max amp usage, it's not good. It's going to be way off. Like it doesn't make sense how many amps you're using for what you're doing. And if you do have an amperage meter and it can calculate the amount of amps you're using, what you would have to do is measure the amount of amps your battery is currently giving to your quad. You do that by plugging in your quad and then measuring it with a multimeter. And once you do that, you take the voltage you have, and then you click on calibrate. Oh wait, I have to plug in a battery. 1 second. So basically, when you click on calibrate, you see amperage. Over here, you see a certain amount of amps, and over here, the amount of volts. So this is the amount of volts you have to put, and over here, then you measure the amount of amps your battery is actually giving to your quad, and then you click calibration. You put in the amount of volts that you saw in the power state box, and you put the amount of amps that you measured. Then you click calibrate, and it's going to calibrate everything, and it should usually give you the right amount of amps in your OSD. So yeah, that's really all there is for the battery. So this is a lot of things is just so that your quad knows, your flight controller knows what the minimum and maximum cell voltage is, just to know which kind of battery you have. It's also to make sure that in your OSD the amperage is correct. Otherwise, it doesn't really affect your flying. It's mostly for safety for your batteries so you don't kill them. But yeah, that's power and battery. Now let's move on to failsafe. So over here you can see that I enabled the expert mode. If I disable it, you'll realize that there is no failsafe anywhere in the tabs, but when I enable it, right under power and battery, there is the failsafe tab. So what you're going to do, enable expert mode, which is right on the top right, and then click on failsafe, which is right under power and battery. Now there's a whole lot more things on this tab. The thing on top over here, don't touch it. You can put in the numbers I have, but otherwise don't touch it, because it's even I'm not 100% sure what it does. I would even have to do more research, but from what I know from programming drones, it never really affected my failsafe. What's really important though is the failsafe switch and stage 2 settings. So basically, a failsafe has two stages. The first stage is when you lose, let's say for example, you lose connection to your transmitter and to your radio basically, because your drone went too far. That's the first stage. It will start the failsafe, but only on the first stage. It's only going to do certain things, and then after a certain amount of time, stage 2 will kick in, and that's when it's going to drop, land, or it's going to use GPS rescue to bring your drone back. So now let's just explain what this is. So I explained the stages, but that's you can also kill your drone. So right when the failsafe is activated, it just makes the drone drop or whatever. But there. So now next thing is stage 2. Over here you see the amount of time, guard time for stage 2 activation after signal loss in seconds. So basically, after the first stage of the failsafe started, the quad waits 1.5 seconds before starting stage 2. In stage 2, you can either drop your drone, land your drone, or use GPS rescue on your drone to bring it back. So basically what it does, dropping your drone, it literally just shuts off the motors and everything, and your drone falls to the ground. When you choose land your drone, it will basically be a much smoother landing, so it will actually land your drone. But you got to be careful with landing your drone for a failsafe, because if you're not on a good terrain for that, it might cause problems with your drone. Let's say you're on a ledge or something, your drone might not land properly because only part of it will end up touching the ground. Or you can use GPS rescue. This is mostly going to be on bigger drones, like I'm pretty sure 5-inch drones you can. But on the drone I'm using right now, which is a 3-inch, there is no GPS on it, so GPS rescue is not usable. So if you have a GPS, you can use GPS rescue when when failsafe occurs. But otherwise, in my opinion, the best failsafe stage 2 procedure you should use is drop, because this really just shuts everything off. Yes, maybe something on your drone might break, but that's always replaceable. Landing is fine, it's just not as trustworthy. Some things could go wrong, and GPS, you can't always use it because it depends on if you have a GPS on your quad or not. Now over here, right under the valid pulse range settings box, you've got the channel fallback settings. What this is, all of the stuff that's written there happens during stage 1. So when stage 1 of the failsafe occurs, over here, all of these things will happen. Now you might be wondering, what is auto and what is hold? What does that mean? Well, if we click on one of the drop down menus, you actually have auto, hold, and set. Basically what this does is, well, you have 3 modes to choose from. Basically what auto mode does is it will bring all of your sticks back to the middle position on your controller. So basically, let's say I was in acro mode, I move my stick like this, the drone, instead of still going like this, it will come back like this. And that's what it's going to do for the first 1.5 seconds of the failsafe, which is going to be stage 1 in this case. That's what auto does. It just brings your drone back to the default position of straight. Next, the other mode is hold. Basically what hold does is, during the first stage, let's say you were flying your drone in acro mode and then you were about to do a flip. Let's say your drone is sideways, kind of like this. It's going to keep it like this until stage 2 starts, or the fail-safe stops. So that's what hold does. It basically just keeps your drone in the position it was when it lost connection. And then the next mode, which is set, you can set over here. When you press set, there's a little box over here that appears, and basically that's you can choose the degree at which your quad will be during stage 1 of the failsafe. So instead of it just either going back to the default position or staying in the same position, you can make it go into a different position in between, for example. In my opinion, keeping auto everywhere for roll, pitch, yaw, and throttle is perfect, because it will just bring it back to the default. But then aux1, aux2, aux3, aux4, all the way down to aux8. I only have 4 aux switches, so only the first 4 are usable. But basically, what this will do is, over here, I have it set on hold. Basically, what this is going to do is, with it on hold, all the aux switches will stay in the position they were at. So my arm switch will stay armed. My beeper will, if it was turned off, it's going to stay turned off. If I was, let's say, in horizon mode, it's going to stay in horizon mode. So basically all the switches will stay in the mode that they were in. If I put set, then I basically just have to choose like a roll, pitch, yaw, and throttle, which position I want it to be when the failsafe occurs. But yeah, that's what the failsafe does. So the failsafe is actually really simple to set up, like I just showed you. You just choose if you want to either kill the drone right away, or have only stage 2, or only have stage 1. Then you choose how much time there is between stage 1 and stage 2. Then you choose if you want to drop the drone or land the drone, or use the GPS rescue if you have one. And finally, choose if you want auto, hold, or set on each of the channel feedbacks during stage 1. So yeah, that's really all there is to do for failsafe. Alright guys, it's the end of the video now, and I hope you liked it. I really hope you understood. And just to do a quick recap of what we learned in this video, in the power and battery tab, you can choose it. It helps Betaflight know how many cells you have in your battery, choose the warning cell voltage, and adjust the voltage meter and the amperage meter. In the failsafe tab, what we learned is we can have either kill the drone right away when the failsafe occurs, or have 2 stages. In the second stage, you choose the amount of time you are in the first stage, stage 4. Then you choose if you just make the drone crash, land the drone, or use your GPS rescue if you have one, and choose what happens during the first stage of your failsafe, with each and every channel feedback there is. So yeah, both of these were very short things to set up, and they're very simple to do as well. There might be some complications with the power and battery tab for the amperage, but otherwise it is very simple. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, hope you understood. If you got any questions, as usual, in the comments, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.